Hi, I'm Michelle Nietert. I'm a licensed professional counselor and a clinical director of a local counseling center of 8 offices and about 15 staff members. But I used to be the crisis and support counselor for a local school district under safe and drug-free schools. And today I want to talk to you about talking to your kids about school lockdowns. We recently had one in our area in Collin County here in Texas, and I just began to realize how unprepared parents and students were socially and emotionally for this to occur in the schools. So I want to talk to you about how to prepare your child for that event and then how to talk with them afterwards. I think it's really important before the school year for you to let your child know that this could occur in their school building during the year. And I would ask them if it ever has before and ask them what happened. So you can get a sense of how they absorbed the experience. And then I would ask them, how did you feel during the experience? What were some thoughts you had? And really listen to them. And I'm going to be honest with you, there are simple kids who are going to say, I didn't think anything about it. And then there are going to be a lot of kids who think more complexly and absorb emotional energy, and they're going to have a lot of things to say about that. So that's the first thing I would say to you, is to prepare them for that. And also to let them know that they don't have to be scared during a lockdown, that the majority of the time lockdowns are just drills. And even when they're real lockdowns, it's preventing somebody from getting inside the building. It would be a very rare occurrence that the lockdown would be because somebody was already inside. And we know that because I trust our local school districts, and I'm sitting here in a private Christian school even. All of them are being super intentional about creating as much safety as possible and really locking down buildings these days. Sadly, for us parents, we feel like it's a hassle, but it's a necessary hassle because we live in a different culture today and we need to make sure our buildings are safe. But here's what I don't want to happen. I do not want the enemies who created situations like 911 or the enemy who gets involved in situations like Columbine to create a spirit of fear in our kids and in our culture when it comes to being at school. I want them to walk, even from a faith-based perspective, of not fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind, and knowing they are safe and believing they're safe. And I hate to tell you, parents, but this is going to start with you in modeling that behavior and communicating that clearly and managing your own fears and anxieties about these things. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with you, to realize these things are going to happen in your school system, and you, before you ever talk to your child, are going to have a great attitude about this. This is something that we do that's routine. This is to protect our students, and this is something they don't need to fear. And it's super important too in this day with electronics. Your child may text you during the event, and your response back needs to be one of assurance. I will also let you know, as a previous school district representative on school safety teams, the worst thing you can do to us in the middle of that, especially if it is real, is to come near our buildings because you've heard about it. Because when you do that, you distract us from protecting your child in that process. And that's what we need to be focused on. We need to be focused on securing that building, going through the drill as fast as we can if it is a drill, or making sure and schools can stay in lockdown mode, especially if there's something that's happened around them for quite a while. So in the old days, this happened, and it was great because kids didn't have cell phones in the building, and parents usually didn't even know this was occurring, and there was no way to put this on social media. But now there is. And while we want you to be informed, we do not want you to use that information to create more havoc, if that makes sense. Your child is more secure being in that school than you trying to come up to the school and them having to deal with you near a doorway when they're trying to deal with another situation in another part of the building. Does that make sense? So I want to encourage you to just really resist the urge to go rescue your child. Your child is safest when these schools are practicing good skills. Now, there is nothing wrong with talking to your child about protecting themselves physically as well.